Okay, good afternoon and welcome to Yeshiva YouTube. Iyun on today's new week of Shulchan Aruch Yomi Siman Kufsa the Aleph 191 Imapolim Mechuyavim Levarich. Do workers have to make a bracha? I'm talking about Birkas Hamazon, right? So there's a Gemara Mefurish, a Gemara in Brachos Ted Zayin. They say an abridged version of Birkas Hamazon. Kriya Shema talks about, but here we're talking about Birkas Hamazon. For example, they don't say Atov Emeti the fourth bracha, and even the second and third bracha they combine together into one bracha. That's the halacha and halacha aleph. However, there's a caveat that it only applies if they're getting paid, right? Besides the fact that usually the owner is, providing them a meal while they're eating, they're also getting a salary. If they're getting a salary, so obviously the Baal Bayis, he wants them to work as much as possible. He's paying them big money, so they can't take off from their work. They have to, even, right, their abundance of Birkas Hamazon, Chazal waived them, so they shouldn't potentially steal money from the Baal Bayis, because he's makpid. And Halacha Beis, Hagos Maimoni says, nowadays no one cares anymore. So everyone says 4 brachas of Birkas Hamazon, and also the Mishnah Berurah mentions Zimun also, you would say nowadays. Because people don't care as much anymore. It's hard to say they don't care. And what the Gemara was only talking about, until 1,000 years ago, or from the last 1,000 years, the Gemara doesn't apply. It's hard when the Rishonim do this and they say Nishtanu Tavayim or something like that, or there are, our bodies changed, or, the ways of the world changed. I don't think so. The Torah is above this world. The Torah was created before this world. The Torah supersedes this world. Anything that it says in the Torah that applies to this world applies eternally and applies for any millennia that we're talking about. To say that it applied for the first 4,000 years of creation and the last 2,000 years doesn't apply anymore, the last 1,500 years doesn't apply anymore, it's hard for me to believe that. So therefore, based on that, I would like to say that it does apply nowadays. But a different interpretation where the Gemara is saying that if they get a salary, if they get paid, what type of workers are we talking about? There's 2 different types of workers, right? There's workers that get paid by the hour, and there's workers that get paid by the job, right? Let's say, people who are building a house, usually you get paid by the job, right? You don't get paid by the hour you're working. It's up to you how many hours you want to invest in it. You could work as many hours, take as long as you want, or you can try to work overtime and, be done with the project, get paid, and move on to your next project. So that's called, right, Schir Yom versus a Kabbalan, the Gemara says. Schir Yom, basically, you get paid for an hour or by the day. A Kabbalan is you get paid for the project. So it doesn't say what polim we're talking about over here in the Gemara. I think it's important to distinguish that. Maybe it does say, actually. I don't remember the Gemara. Maybe it does say Schir Yom and a Kabbalan, but I think the Gemara is actually talking about someone who's a Kabbalan, someone who gets paid by the project. And it's not because you're stealing from the Baal Bayis that you don't have to say the full version of Birkas Hamazon. The reason is because you're a Kabbalan, and it's up to you how many hours you work, right? So you're always in a rush. You want to do it as quickly as possible, so you get your money and move on to the next job. So the point is that if we say that you have to say the full 4 brachas Birkas Hamazon, you're not going to have kavanah, right? It's not because you're stealing from the Baal Bayis. It's because you're not going to be able to have a full kavanah. Like the Gemara talks about with davening and Kriya Shema, people are in trees and things like that, they'll have kavanah or not kavanah, they're going to fall or not. It's about kavanah and Birkas Hamazon. You're supposed to, just like all the tefillah, you're supposed to understand what you're saying. Birkas Hamazon also, you're supposed to understand what you're saying. So if you're saying Birkas Hamazon in a rush because you want to finish your job very quickly, you're not going to have the right kavanah. So Chazal said, under certain circumstances, you can say an abridged version of Birkas Hamazon because you're probably not going to have kavanah. So say it as succinctly as possible and move on and finish your work, and that's it. So if you're not getting paid at all, or let's say even if you're getting paid by the hour, right? You can be paid by the hour, so it's not on your cheshbon. You get paid every hour, so who cares if it takes a little longer, right? If your work takes a little longer, right? You're getting paid by the hour, so you'll have kavanah. You'll slow down for Birkas Hamazon, but when you're getting paid to finish the job, it's on your time, it's on your cheshbon, and you're not going to have the proper kavanah for Birkas Hamazon. And that's what Chazal were worried about, and therefore they said there's an abridged version. So it depends. Even nowadays, if you're working on a project and you're getting paid for building a house, let's say, which is a contract or a normal, type of work where you're getting paid for the project, right? You're the contractor. So in that case, you're, working. So since you're not going to have kavanah of Birkas Hamazon, Chazal abridged. They let you say an abridged version of Birkas Hamazon, so you'll have more kavanah. Because if you're forced to say a long Because a Muslim, you're not going to have kavanah. So it's about having kavanah. It's not about stealing from Baal Bayis. I think that's the right perspective over here. And of course, it would apply nowadays also. Hope you enjoyed today's share. See you in the next one.